We got our NBA preview first with the Memphis Grizzlies. The Memphis Grizzlies, one of the more controversial teams in the NBA last year because of Ja Morant and his outside partying and outside activities and things like that kind of bothered people, and it led to a suspension. And then once again, he seemed to not learn his lesson, and it led to a 25-game suspension to start this season. So the Memphis Grizzlies are in position right now to where they're kind of already behind. But it's okay because they have a unit that plays for the unit. You still got Jaren Jackson, the defensive player of the year. You still have Desmond Bane, one of the better scorers in the NBA, one of the better outside shooters in the league as well too. You just lost Steven Adams for the rest of the season, but Steven Adams is getting up there in age, and you know how that goes. We all know how that goes. But the Grizzlies probably have one of the more rough and tough squads that are very high quality, in my opinion. It's just that the market that they play in and the players that they have on the team may not mesh as well together as they would with other teams. And I truly do feel that Ja Morant is the is one of the guys that is good for the future of the NBA, regardless of how people feel about him, regardless of how people feel about that situation that occurred. He's a kid. He's 20. He's below 25 years old. He's just getting to know how to get. He's just learning life, and so pretty much those were things that just were very, 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 very just it was just a bad situation for him because there was a lot that went on, and I kind of blame the outside influences a little bit, and I kind of blame the media a bit as well too, because they took things out of proportion and they made things a little bit more extra than they needed to be. And this kind of, I would say, it never detoured his skill level, but what it did do, it kind of just distracted him for a while to where, they just weren't the team that you wanted them to be. The Grizzlies weren't a team that felt like they were going to get put out in the first round. You thought the Grizzlies were going to be a team that were going to compete and possibly get to the conference finals. That's how good they were looking before the Ja situation happened. And so that's why I say this year, if Ja has matured, if Ja has gotten over the bullshit that he wants to be a part of, then I think that the Grizzlies can be one of the more dangerous teams in the NBA. But the first 25 games, you can't judge them in a sense to where, they flop in or they're not that good. I feel like they're still going to be a 500 team by the time Ja gets here. I think they'll still be 15 and 10, 20 and 17 and 8, something of that nature, because they still have a good unit. They have the chemistry to make this thing work. That's what all I'm saying with the Grizzlies at this point right now. And I look at the roster, and once you get outside of their three, Bane, Ja, and JJ, you have a really good bench player in Kenneth Lofton Jr. He's not Kenny Lofton's son, but Kenneth Lofton Jr. is a Charles Barkley type, and he is such a dominant force. That kid can really play. Then you got the veteran leadership of Derrick Rose, and then you got Marcus Smart. That's why I say that you're still going to be a good team before he even gets back. You got Xavier Tillman, who's a really good big man, who's a very physical big man as well too. Zaire Williams, a guy with a whole lot of potential to be a really good player moving forward. He was a highly touted high school player who also was pretty good over at Stanford as well too, and he should be somebody that contributes while Ja's out. And then you still got Luke Kennard, one of the better shooters in the NBA. There's a lot of good things that are going on with this team. And one thing that they don't say about the Grizzlies, they are well coached. That's the thing. Taylor Jenkins is one of the more underrated coaches in the league, but he gets the job done. And that's all you can really ask for at the end of the day. So pretty much with that, I still see the Grizzlies being a team that can play a big factor into things. And when you look at their wins over and under for this year, you say, okay, this should be uh, this should be a team. Man, I hate when you put in the Memphis Grizzlies over under wins and then they're giving you Memphis University comedy. But the Grizzlies are at 45 and a half wins at this point. I think they get over 45 and a half wins this year. I think they're good enough for that. And I think that's something that we really do need to go ahead and, you can bet it up. I think that this could work for you if you take Memphis to go over that number. Memphis is a top 14. Just once they get it all, once they get their whole group together, they're a top 4 team in the West. You know what I mean? And they're a team that if they lock it up defensively, they'll be on a echelon that a lot of people can't see. You know what I mean? And I think that, a year removed from having certain people out the locker room now, you'll be a better team as well, too. So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll move forward. And we are going into the NBA